The financial landscape is anything but stable right now, and the wealthy do three things better than most when it comes to navigating financial uncertainties. I'm Trevor Miller from Cherry Hill Private Wealth, and let's find out what the wealthy do better than most Canadians. Households are facing an economic crunch that we haven't seen in over a decade. Household expenses have increased at record paces, with food and gas leading the way. That's not even mentioning the mortgage and rent increases that we're seeing, which can add thousands of dollars to already tight budgets. Amongst the wealthy, or those that have more than $1 million in investable assets, about 1/3 fear that they're going to outlive their current funds. In this group, only 44% that they feel very comfortable. Even more surprising is that in the group they call the regular rich, which are your doctors, your lawyers, and other professionals with stable jobs, home ownership, and padded retirement funds, they said they didn't really feel that well off. And some even went as far as to say that they felt poor, which according to Northwest Mutual's report, there are several things that these millionaires are doing that most of the rest of us just aren't. And here are three things from their findings. So number one, they plan for the ups and downs. This group doesn't just hope for the best, and they don't just live in the here and now. They aim to see well beyond the short term and crash test their plans to make sure that they hold up to the twists and turns that happen in their financial lives. 84% of the wealthiest Americans said they had a long-term financial plan, which is 30% more than the general population. Having a well-constructed, diversified portfolio was something that was important to this long-term plan. Not just having the investments that did well in a good economy, but also keeping an eye on the investments that performed well in a downturn. High-quality bonds have typically performed well in these economies, but more and more turn to alternatives and creating pension-type portfolios that have outperformed more conventional portfolios on a risk-adjusted basis. Number two was working with an advisor. This might seem a little self-serving coming from me, but I'm just really telling you what the report said. Just like changing the brakes in your cars, you can probably figure it out, and you can probably figure out how to come up with a plan based on risk tolerance and goals, but the rich just leave it to the professionals. About 70% of the wealthy work with a financial advisor, which is double of that of the general population. So many studies have shown that people that work with an advisor have better returns with their investments and are more likely to reach their financial goals. While some advisors do have a minimum dollar figure that they work with, there are lots of advisors that just don't have this minimum. There are also a number of advisors that will charge a fee for service, which can help you save money if you're just getting started or feel that you don't have enough money for them to take you seriously and prioritize you. There's also a reason why Wealthsimple and Questrade's average client size is less than $50,000 per client. That's because the wealthy know the value surround themselves with the professionals who can help them achieve the best results. Most of us won't try to figure out that brake change. We'll go to the mechanic that does thousands of these brakes and is an expert in that area. We also don't typically try to perform minor surgery on ourselves. We find the doctor that specializes in that field. The wealthy realize that with something as important as their finances and their financial future, it can only really be trusted to a certified financial planner who is an expert in financial planning and investment advice. The third thing the report found was that the wealthiest stayed committed to a financial plan. Almost half of all millionaires consider themselves highly disciplined when it comes to their financial goals and how they plan on achieving them. The same can't be said for the rest of the population, where only about 20% said that they're highly disciplined. When looking at what being disciplined actually entails, it was saving more than they spend on discretionary items, investing regularly, staying diversified, and keeping emotions in check. When you invest regularly, you not only take advantage of the swings in the market, but it also creates a habit which is much easier to stick to than trying to come up with a major lump sum at irregular intervals. Keeping emotions in check is an interesting point and one that often gets overlooked. It's easy to get greedy in good markets and think that you can take some big can't miss chances or get in that hot investment that you read about and someone else made a ton of money on. But these really rarely work out well. It's also easy to want to stop investing or get out of the markets in more difficult times. People who do this often miss out on the upswing and solidify those losses. Having a strategy and sticking to it can provide you with the framework to make better decisions. So often we're looking for a magic potion, but just like the star athlete, it takes persistence, discipline, and a coach that can keep you on track. Wayne Gretzky didn't become the greatest hockey player ever based on his talent alone. He was the first on the ice, last off the ice, all the time, and not just before a big game. He also surrounded himself with the great coaches and mentors to help keep him on track.